Do you think you can tell if someone is lying just by looking at them? Well, it's not always easy, but there are some telltale signs that you can look for. For example, liars tend to blink more than truth tellers. They also tend to avoid eye contact. But it's important to remember that not everyone who is avoiding eye contact is lying. Therefore, it is important that you understand all signs. Ever wondered what people are really thinking and feeling, even when they're not saying a word? Well, today I'm going to show you how to decode the hidden language of the body. Did you know that up to 55% of communication is nonverbal? That means that over half of the message we're trying to convey is actually being communicated through our body language. And what's even more fascinating is that our bodies can't lie. Even if we're trying to hide our true emotions, our bodies will always give us away. So, whether you're trying to read a first date, ace a job interview, or negotiate a business deal, understanding body language can give you a huge advantage. Today, you will learn about the book, What Every Body is Saying, by Joe Navarro, a former FBI agent. By the end of this video, you'll be a body language expert. I have changed about 4 to 5 jobs in my 15 years of corporate career. I once had a job interview that I was really nervous about. I was so nervous that I could barely speak. But then I remembered something I had read about body language. I started to pay attention to the interviewer's body language, and I noticed that he was leaning forward and nodding his head. This was a good sign. It meant that he was interested in what I had to say. I also noticed that he was smiling. This was another good sign. It meant that he was feeling positive about me. Based on the interviewer's body language, I was able to relax and have a much more confident interview. And guess what? I got the job. What you say is often much less important than how you say it. One essential rule of success is understanding how you interpret non-verbal signals like body language, dress and behavior. In this book, Navarro, an expert in understanding nonverbal behaviors, explains how to change or use your subconscious statements to your advantage and read people's behavior like a book, What They Say Nonverbally. These skills will enhance your ability to understand moods, decode behavior, anticipate difficulties, avoid hidden pitfalls, influence conversations and understand the secret motivations of the people around you. To understand the book easily, we have divided its important lessons into 27 chapters of 5 parts. That's why it seems less like a book summary and more like a body language course. But, if you have not subscribed to our channel yet, then you must IMMD subscribe to the channel so that you can also become part of our mission, where our aim is to change the lives of crores of people through books. Our video may sometimes be a little long because we never compromise on the quality of the book and content, so it is important to watch the video till the end. So let's start. Part 1. Nonverbals of feet and legs when the direction of the foot starts shifting or away from the person in front. We gravitate toward things we like or agree with, including the people we interact with. You can use this information to see whether other people are happy to see you, like you, or would instead leave them alone. Suppose 2 people are talking to each other. These are people you've met before, and now you want to join their discussion, so you go up to them and say, "Hi." The problem is that you need to figure out whether they want to be with you. To find out, observe the behavior of their legs and upper body. If they move their legs and body to accept you, they want to welcome you. They want to be left alone if they don't move their feet to accommodate you but instead say hello and turn their back to you. We turn away from things we don't like. Studies of courtroom behavior show that jurors take turns toward the nearest exit when they don't want a witness. A jury is a group selected from the general public to hear the facts about a crime and decide whether the accused person is guilty. When people turn their feet to the other side, it is usually a sign of separation, a desire to distance themselves from where they are. When you are talking to someone and notice that they are slowly or suddenly moving their feet away from you, you should understand that they want to go away. This can happen for many reasons. They are late for an appointment and have to be there on time, or you said something they didn't like or that hurt them. Now it depends on you that, looking at the situation, guess why that person wants to go. Notice if a person sits down and places his hands on his knees. This is an obvious sign that, in his mind, he is ready to end the meeting and take leave. Generally, the upper body is tilted forward by placing the hands on the knees, or if the person is sitting on a chair, then the lower part of the body is placed on the edge of the chair. Both types of signals are the same. When you notice these signs, especially when the other person is your senior, it's time to end your conversation. Be wise, and don't delay. During a comfortable, casual social meeting, our feet reflect the other person we are with. Love is shown to each other by touching the feet to offer this comfort during the loving moment. During loving or courtship moments, especially while sitting, a woman often plays with her shoes and dangles the shoes on her toes when she feels comfortable with her partner. If the woman feels uncomfortable, then this behavior will stop immediately. As a sensible lover, you can have a perfect idea of how things are going based on this shoe game behavior. Apart from this, if a woman likes you, she comes close to you and tries touching your feet. This nonverbal behavior says, "Notice me." At the same time, when people sit next to each other, the direction in which their legs are crossed becomes very important. The feet's upper portion will point towards the other person if they have a good relationship. If a person does not like any topic mentioned by his partner, he will change the position of his legs so that the thighs become an obstacle between the two. This blocking behavior is an excellent example of the limbic brain protecting us. If the way both people sit and cross their legs is similar, then there is good trust between them. Have you ever wondered what kind of first impression you make on someone? Do they like you from the beginning or not? One way to find out is to observe the movement and wait. This is how it works. When you meet people for the first time, you must check the behavior of their feet and legs. This reveals a lot about how they feel about you. When you meet someone for the first time, make good eye contact after saying hello in a cultural manner, and then take a step back to see what happens next. One of three things will happen: the person will stay in place, letting you know they are comfortable at that distance. The person will step back or move away, letting you know that they need more space or do not want to stand with you. They will step closer to you, meaning they feel comfortable and good with you. Don't object to his behavior, use this opportunity to see how they feel about you. Part 2. Nonverbals of torso, hips, chest, and shoulders. Sitting slightly sideways on a sofa or chair is a sign of dominance. Young children often get scolded or beaten by their parents. As a nonverbal way to dominate that environment, sit stretched out on a chair or bench. This behavior is disrespectful and shows indifference towards those in power. This is behavior that should not be tolerated if you are in power. If you have a child who does this every time you are scolded or spanked, you need to immediately neutralize this behavior by asking your child to sit correctly, and if he does not, make him sit somewhere else or around him. This will increase your child's chances of maintaining your respect, even in such situations. If you allow your child to turn their back or sit cross-legged instead of sitting in front during such disagreements, they may lose respect for you and ignore you over time. By allowing such behavior, you say, "It's okay to disrespect me." When these children grow up, they may continue to behave in a similar unfair manner in their workplace, which will harm their jobs in the long run. It is not okay to linger, as it sends a strong negative, nonverbal message of disrespect towards office authority. We humans, like many other creatures, such as lizards, birds, dogs, and primates, puff out our chests when trying to establish regional dominance. See two people who are angry with each other. They will puff out their chests like gorillas. Although it may seem almost laughable when we see others do this, chest puffing should not be ignored, as studies have shown that people's chest puffs out when they are about to attack someone. You might see this on the school grounds when kids are back to fight. This can also be seen among professional boxers when they raise their chests to provoke each other before a big fight and claim victory. You must have seen that sometimes, in street fights, people take off their clothes, like shirts or hats, when they are ready to attack another person. In any case, if you get into an argument with someone and they take off a hat, shirt, or other item of clothing, a fight will most likely happen. When a person is under stress, heaviness or rapid expansion and contraction can be seen in the chest. When our limbic system is ready to do something challenging or fight, the body tries to take in as much oxygen as possible, breathing more deeply or panting. A stressed person's chest swells because the limbic brain says, there may be some trouble if we suddenly have to run or fight, increase oxygen consumption. When you see this kind of nonverbal behavior in a healthy person, you should understand that he is stressed. A complete and slight shrug means a lot. When a boss asks an employee, "Do you know anything about this customer complaint?" and the employee answers, "No," with a half shrug, chances are they aren't sure. Both shoulders rise quickly and simultaneously in an honest and truthful response. When people confidently support their point, they shrug their shoulders entirely. If you notice that a person's shoulders rise only slightly or if only one shoulder goes up, it is likely that the person needs to be sure that what they are saying is accurate and may be evasive or trying to mislead you. When talking, be wary of the person who moves their body in response to an adverse incident so that the shoulders slowly rise toward the ears and the neck disappears. The person showing this body language tries to hide his head like a turtle. Such a person lacks confidence and remains very uncomfortable. You may have seen it in business meetings when the boss comes up and says, "Okay, tell me what everyone else is doing." As different people go around the room proudly talking about their accomplishments, the shoulders of the same low-achieving employee will rise higher and higher in a subconscious effort to hide their head. This turtle-like behavior is also seen in families when the father says, "It hurt my feelings to find out that someone broke my reading lamp without telling me." As a father looks at each of his children, the child will look down, and the shoulders will rise towards the ears, which means he has broken the lamp. You will also notice the presence of weak shoulders while walking back to the locker room of a losing football team. Part 3. Nonverbals of arms. When we are upset or scared, we withdraw our arms. When we are hurt, bullied, misbehaved, or anxious, our associates come straight to our sides or cross our chest. It is a survival strategy that helps humans survive when they feel any actual or possible danger. For example, the mother who is worried about her son when he is playing with senior children. She often crosses her arms and turns them over her stomach. She wants to keep him safe by interfering in the child's play but stands aside and restrains herself by holding up his arms, hoping the game will proceed without any injuries. When two people are arguing, they both behave like withdrawing their hands. This symbolizes security for both people. They are restraining themselves because bringing out their arms or extending their arms is considered an attempt to attack and injure the other, which can lead to a fight. Some hand behaviors convey, "Don't come close to me, don't touch." For example, see professors, doctors or lawyers walking through the corridors of some universities. When people put their arms behind their backs, they first say, "I'm classy." Second, they say, "Please don't come to me, don't touch me." Putting the arms behind the back is a clear sign that means, "Don't come closer, I don't want to talk to you." Every time a small child longs to be held in her lap, his mother pulls her arms behind her back when she is busy with work. The behavior used to express dominance and show the image of authority is called arms akimbo. In this nonverbal behavior, a person spreads his hands in a V pattern and places the arrows on the hips with the thumbs backwards. Look at police or army officers in uniform when talking to each other. They almost remain in this position. Although this is part of their official training, this behavior does not positively impact personal relationships. Therefore, military officers who leave the service to enter the business world are advised to soften that image to behave softly with general people. Arms akimbo has its special requirement for women. For them, this is an assertive nonverbal behavior they can use when confronting men in the workplace or meeting boardroom. This is an effective way for a woman to show that she stands her ground, is sure and is not ready to be bullied. Often, when young women enter the workplace, some men threaten them non-verbally. In such a situation, this behavior helps girls to maintain dominance in that environment or at least show equal power. Adopting this behavior or using it first can provide equal opportunities for women who cannot express themselves openly in other ways. Arms akimbo is an excellent way of saying that there are some issues in that environment, things are not good, or I stand my ground. Hooding effect. His behavior, similar to arms akimbo, is often seen during business meetings and other social gatherings. When a person leans back and folds his hands behind his head, this behavior is reminiscent of how cobras, hood, communicates their dominance and power to other animals. This hooding effect makes us look more significant than the person in front and tells others, I am in charge. This should also be done in a sequence. For example, while waiting for a meeting to start, an office supervisor may show more power than others by placing his hands together, behind his head, and with his elbows out. But when the boss comes into the room, this behavior changes. Now, it is for people more powerful than them to claim power in that area. Thus, it is now the boss's right to adopt this behavior, while everyone else will be expected to bring their hands to the table in a show of respect. Dominant pose. Often, humans use this dominant pose to emphasize one thing and assert their power over that part. This usually happens during conversations where people disagree on an issue. The author recounts an incident during a stay in New York, where a hotel guest came to the front desk with his arms close to his body and asked for help from the clerk on duty. When his request was denied, the guest changed to a dominant order, and his arms also changed to spread farther and farther apart, trying to dominate as much of the area as possible. This behavior is a powerful way to become dominant and get someone to agree with your point of view. In courtship or loving behavior, a man often places his hands on his dating partner, especially when there is a chance that the other guy is trying to get a glimpse of his girl. Apart from this, he will put a hand on the back of his partner's hand and touch it all over to show that it is only his and no one can claim it. Another example of arm-loving behavior is when a couple sits together at a table, they place their arms as close to each other as possible. Our arms have many sensory receptors, so touching hands provides sensual pleasure. Even touching each other's hair on our naked arms or touching each other through clothes gives sensual pleasure. So when we put our arms around someone else, our limbic brain clearly shows that we are very comfortable, and the other person has permission to touch us physically. The other aspect of this is that we remove our arms from around our partner's arms when we are angry with each other about something or the matter is going towards a fight. Or when the person we're sitting next to, whether on a date or a stranger, makes us feel uncomfortable. Part 4. Nonverbals of hands and fingers. No one likes a wet handshake, so if your hands get sweaty when meeting others, essential people, such as future employers, future in-laws, or someone who helps you, wash your hands before shaking hands. Dry it. Hands sweat not only when we are too hot, but it also occurs when we are nervous or stressed. When you meet someone with sweaty hands, you can assume they are under stress because limbic stimulation causes sweating. Use this opportunity to win parts of the conversation that may favor you. At the same time, do whatever you can to help the person calm down. Making people feel comfortable when stressed is one of the best ways to have more honest, compelling and successful conversations. Some people mistakenly believe that if your palms sweat, you must be lying. This is not accurate at all. The same part of the nervous system that activates during limbic freeze, anger, or fight also controls our sweat glands. Therefore, even a simple thing like meeting a new person can cause sweaty hands, so do not consider this incident a sign of betrayal. About 5% of the population sweats excessively, and constant sweating can cause the palms to become uncomfortably sweaty. Sweaty palms are not a sign of cheating. This is simply a sign of stress or, in some cases, genetic disorders. Therefore, remember this while guessing the reasons for wet hands and shaking hands with others after drying them. A thumbs up is always a nonverbal sign of high confidence. The exciting thing is that it is also related to high status. If you look at the pictures of 35th U.S. President John F. Kennedy, you will notice that he kept his hands in his coat pockets, and most of the time, his thumbs were out. Also lawyers, college professors and doctors, you may often notice people holding their lapels together with their thumbs raised in the air. In the fashion industry, to show their confidence, women are always photographed holding their collars with at least one hand and keeping their thumbs in the mood. The company's marketing team also believes that a thumbs up indicates high confidence or status. That's why you noticed it in the ads of some companies also. When people raise their thumbs high, it is a sign that they are confident in their thoughts or current situations. It has been observed that people who show their thumb in a thumbs-up position are generally more aware of the environment around them. They are faster in thinking, analyzing and making decisions about things. Next time you see someone like this, notice that they are trying to show something positive when they do this. The feeling of low confidence comes when a person, usually a man, keeps his thumb in his pocket and his fingers hanging at his side. This sign says, "I am very doubtful about myself." Team leaders do not show this behavior at work or during social meetings. If a high-status or high-confident person is casually relaxing, this behavior may be visible, but he never does this when he is active. This thumb sign is so accurate that it can help you guess who is feeling good about himself and who is not feeling good from the inside. For example, 4 boys were dancing, but when an audience member pointed out a mistake in their dance, their thumbs went into their pockets. This thumb into the bag is reminiscent of a child standing before an angry mother. This behavior shows that the person in front quickly moves from high to low confidence. Research shows that liars gesture less, touchless and move their arms and legs less than honest people. This happens according to limbic reactions. In the face of danger, when we discover a lie, we move less or stop to avoid drawing attention to ourselves. This behavior is often noticeable during a conversation because a person's arms shrink a lot while lying and become active while telling the truth. Because such changes are controlled by the limbic system instead of the thinking brain, you can guess more from the other person's behavior than from his words whether he is telling the truth or not. So pay attention to hand and arm movements that have suddenly stopped. They say a lot about what's happening in that person's mind. If it usually moves, then it means he is telling the truth. If it is stopped suddenly, then they are trying to hide something. When people make an important comment, incident or wringing their hands in response to changes in their surroundings or cross your fingers together, this is usually a sign of stress or low self-confidence. This common sign in people worldwide indicates that the other person feels nervous. A person who is confused, less confident or less stressed will rub the palms of his hands a little. If the situation becomes more stressful or his confidence level continues to fall, then suddenly, the soft touch of the palm with the finger turns into more friction of the fingers joined together. People who touch their necks or elsewhere while speaking show less self-confidence than usual or are trying to relieve stress. Covering the neck, throat, or upper back during stress is a natural and robust sign that the brain is actively thinking about something threatening, objectionable, upsetting, suspicious, or emotional. This has absolutely nothing to do with cheating. When he was an FBI agent, the author was talking with a friend outside a conference room when a female assistant came out, touching a pimple on his neck and holding a cell phone with the other hand. Something seemed wrong to the author. So when the woman on the cell phone ended her call, the author went and asked her, find out that one of her children had high fever at school and needed to go there as soon as possible. Neck touching is one of those behaviors that are so reliable and precise that you should take note of it with people close to you. Part 5. Nonverbals of face studies have proved that humans have both fake and genuine smiles. Fake smiles are used almost exclusively with people not close to us, while genuine smiles are used with people we care about. A genuine smile is caused by the action of two muscles, the zygomaticus major, which extends from the corner of the mouth to the cheekbones, and the orbicularis oculi, which surrounds the eye. Working together, they pull up the corners of the mouth and contract the outer corners of the eyes, creating an honest smile. When we show a fake smile in public, the corner of the lip gets pulled to the side using a muscle called risorius. When used bilaterally, they pull the corners of the mouth sideways but cannot lift them upward, as in a genuine smile. People feel embarrassed when caught doing something they know is wrong. The second is shyness, when a person likes someone but does not want him to know about it. Young people who harbor a secret love for someone often feel shy when they come close to that person. The opposite, blanching, i.e. turning pale, occurs when we are constantly in a limbic response called shock. You can see this in a traffic accident or interview, in which people suddenly either escape from an accident or get something good like a job offer. Apart from this, this happens when a person comes to know about something he never knew existed. For example, a person had committed a crime and destroyed the evidence so the police could not reach him. Still, when that person was arrested after investigation, he was so shocked that he suddenly became unconscious and had a dangerous heart attack. Sometimes, we don't say what we think, but our face reflects it anyway. For example, if a person is repeatedly looking at his watch or a nearby exit gate, he is telling you non-verbally that he is getting late or is no longer interested in what you are saying. This kind of look is a sign of clear intention. Other times, we say one thing, but something else is happening in our mind. When encountering mixed signals from someone's face, such as showing signs of happiness along with signs of worry or displeasing happy behavior, always notice the first expression, whether it is positive or negative. Because the first expression almost always describes the person's feelings more accurately. For example, if someone says with a tight jaw, "It's great to see you," that's not true. The stress on the face expresses the person's genuine feelings. It is essential to notice the expression first because our most immediate response to an unknown or difficult situation is usually the most accurate. The mixing of feelings happens only after that moment when we realize that other people can see us. Then, we immediately hide that initial reaction with a more socially acceptable facial expression. So, when faced with mixed feelings, go with the first feeling observed, especially if it is a negative signal. Even if you clearly understand the deception of the other person during a conversation or interview, in such a situation, your behavior should remain as neutral as possible, not suspicious. Remember that the moment you become cynical, you are non-verbally predicting how the other person will respond to you. If you say to the other person, "You're lying," or "I think you're not telling the truth," or even look at them suspiciously, it will influence their subsequent behavior. The best way to proceed is to ask for as much detail as possible about the issue, a simple example being, "I don't understand," or Can you explain how this happened again? Being motivated to speak in detail will ultimately be enough to separate the lie from the truth. Whether you are trying to find out the true capabilities of an aspirant during an interview or trying to find out the truth about theft at the workplace, whether it's a matter of money or your life partner's infidelity, try to remain calm when asking questions, avoid suspicious behavior, and appear comfortable and non-judgmental. This way, the person you're talking to will not be defensive and tell you things in the same manner. Friends, let us repeat what we have learned so far from this book so that it can be remembered easily. When the person in front turns his feet to the other side or towards the exit, he wants to go from there. If two people have similar ways of sitting and crossing their legs, there is good trust between them. If a girl stands there when you come near her, she feels comfortable with that much space. If she moves back, she wants some space. If she comes closer to you, she likes it. We puff out our chests while trying to establish dominance in our environment. If you get into an argument with someone and they take off their hat, shirt, or other item of clothing, a fight will most likely happen. Sweaty palms are not a sign of cheating. This is simply a sign of stress or, in some cases, genetic disorders. This is simply a sign of stress or, in some cases, genetic disorders. People who touch their necks or elsewhere while speaking show low self-confidence or are trying to relieve stress. When someone gives mixed signals, go with the first feeling you see, especially if it is negative. If you feel satisfied, the other person is lying. So try to remain calm while asking questions, and do not behave suspiciously. Look comfortable and non-judgmental. This way, the chances of the person you are talking to being defensive and not disclosing information openly are reduced. To friends, this is the complete summary of what Everybody is Saying book. If you like this video, then please comment to us. Along with this, also tell us which book summary you want to see on our channel. Let's meet soon, and also with the video. Thank you so much.